Hello, this is Carrington Goldsmith reporting from WAGC News. I am here with Reverend Ed Butler, my grandpa, to learn about the Great Depression. Mr. Butler grew up during the Depression on a small farm in Georgia. Grandpa, can you please tell us how old you were when the Depression began?
I was about 3 years old when the Depression started.
Were you aware that it was going on?
I didn't know it was a depression. I never heard the word, and we didn't know it was a depression because everybody was in the same condition.
What was your house and farm like when you were a child?
We lived in a weatherboard house, and we worked on a farm. We raised our food and meat and everything we needed on the farm.
Please tell us about your clothes and shoes.
Well, we wore blue-collar clothes because that's what farmers and factory workers wore. And this is a blue-collar shirt. That's why they call blue-collar workers. And we wore a hat like this in the field to keep the sun from being so hot. And that's one of the things we wore. And I wore short pants, but I always wanted long pants. And I had one back pocket, and I always wanted two back pockets.
Did you have electricity and running water? Please tell us about that.
We didn't have any electricity. We had our lights with the oil lamps, and that's what we studied by and what we read by. But we didn't stay up so late at night. We got up early and went to bed early. And the only time we had running water is when I ran with it from the well.
What kind of toys did you play with?
Mostly we had our toys that we made ourselves. We built wagons and swings, and we had we played ball, and we played with the pets, the chickens and the calves, and we played marbles.
What kind of toys did your sisters play with?
My sisters played paper dolls, and they cut out paper dolls from magazines and catalogs, and that's what they played, paper dolls.
What else did you do for fun?
Well, we went swimming and went barefooted in the summer, and we played ball and went swimming, and we just had vacation in the summertime, except we had to work some.
What kinds of food did you eat, and did you have enough?
We had lots of good food because we raised our own food. We had veggies from the garden. We had tomatoes and cabbage and beans and carrots, and we had watermelon and cantaloupes, and we all had good food. So we had our own food.
What was your favorite food that your mom made?
My mom fried chicken, and that was very good fried chicken.
Did you have work to do in the house or on the farm?
I worked around the farm. I worked in the cornfield and the cotton field. I helped plant corn. I helped plant the veggies in the garden, and we had to pull weeds out of the garden, and we had to work to get our food.
What was the first job, and how old were you?
Well, I worked on the farm before I had a regular job that paid money for it, and I had a job selling peaches on the road, and I made enough money to buy a bicycle. And when I had a bicycle, I had a paper route, and I delivered papers every morning before school.
How much did you get paid?
I made about $5 a week on the paper route, and I spent most of that buying candy and ice cream.
Can you tell us the cost of different items that you remember?
Well, most things cost only a nickel. You could buy a Coke for a nickel, you could buy ice cream for a nickel, and you could even buy candy for a penny.
Did you personally feel the effects of the Depression?
No, I didn't feel we were in a depression because I didn't know what a depression was. We had plenty of everything, but we didn't have a lot of money because money was the only shortage. We had everything else we needed.
How do you think... Oh, man.
keep going.
Go ahead.
How do you think it affected your family?
Well, the only thing my family felt in the Depression was we didn't have all the money we wanted to spend, and so we didn't buy a lot of clothes, and we had homemade clothes because we didn't have money to buy them at the store.
What did your family use for transportation?
Well, we had a buggy, and when it was raining, I rode the buggy to school. Other than that, I walked to school.
What kinds of things did you get for Christmas?
Well, I didn't get a lot of toys for Christmas. I remember one Christmas I got a little hand car, railroad car, that you had to pump it to make it run. And another Christmas I got a little dancing man called Jazzbo Jim. And we had stockings, and we got fruit and nuts and candy and raisins in the stockings, and that was about all we got for Christmas.
Did you ever see hobos? Please tell us about them.
We didn't see hobos much because we didn't live by a railroad. But when we did go by a railroad, we'd see men on freight trains because they rode the trains across the country looking for jobs because they didn't have jobs. And they were not bums, they were just men looking for jobs to work so they could feed their families.
Tell us about your church.
We had a church, a Baptist church, about a mile from where we lived, and we usually walked to church, and we went to Sunday school, and we didn't have baptism in the church. I was baptized in a lake.
Tell us about your school.
The school was a little bit farther than the church, but we had a new building, a new brick building while I was going to school there, and we had a nice place to go to school. And we played in the schoolyard and played ball and marbles and at recess, and we had lots of fun playing in the schoolyard.
Please tell us about someone you looked up to and admired and why.
Well, I had a brother-in-law who was more like a brother, like a big brother, and we played ball together, and when he went on a trip playing ball, he always took me with him, and that was always fun. And he could have been another Mickey Mantle, but he was killed in the war.
Please tell us your best memory from that time period.
Well, summertime was vacation time, and every spring when it got warm enough, we put our shoes away and went barefooted, and we played ball and marbles and went swimming, and we played with the chickens and the calves, and we just had a fun vacation, but we did have to work some also in the summer.
Do you have any more comments to share about the Great Depression?
Well, it was not, I never heard of a Great Depression. We didn't know it was a Great Depression until many years later. But the Depression was money and not anything else we needed. We had our food, we had our water, we had our fuel for heat, and we had all the food we needed, and the only thing we had a shortage of was money. And that's what everybody had in the Depression, was a shortage of money.
Grandpa, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. This is Carrington Goldsmith reporting from WAGC News. Over and out.